Hello mga mommies! It's the second Friday of the month again. Welcome to QualiMed's online Mother's Class. Today's topic is entitled, How are you, mommy? Or how do you feel today? To talk on EQ or emotional intelligence, we have a distinguished doctor of medicine who graduated in FEU. After graduation, she returned to her hometown in Cotabato City, where she trained in internal medicine and also rotated in RITM for a residency in infectious diseases. It was when her husband became a diplomat and when she decided to join him where she discovered the importance of emotional intelligence. 23 years, they were living in 7 different countries, and this challenged her well-being. As a diplomat spouse, she had many hats to handle that she was challenged by all the overwhelming emotions. In Israel, she studied the Dale Carnegie course, How to Win Friends and Influence People under Mr. Ron Bowman. She studied aged care in Australia, Understanding Life, the Elderly. In Canada, she got her certification as coach for emotional intelligence 2.0 and 360 from the EITC headed by Mr. David Corey, and a certification for Train the Trainer leading and with emotional intelligence. As the spouse of the Consul General and a doctor, she engaged herself in humanistic counseling. She developed a module she named Compass that helped disturb OFWs and find direction in life in spite of the adversities they have experienced. She is married to Ambassador Uriel Norman G. Garibay for 42 years, a mother to Shalom and Yuhum, Lola to Omi and Ellie. Mommies, daddies, and friends, let us welcome Dr. Omega Alpaz Garibay.
Thank you, Doctora, for accepting our invitation. Doctora Omega Alpaz Garibay.
Thank you to Dr. Gemma for inviting me. I'm so privileged and honored to share your passion, and I want to congratulate you for doing this. This is really timely and very relevant for the people around, and especially for the mothers.
Doctora, we'll go straight to the questions. What
Mm.
is EQ?
So EQ is emotional intelligence. Before I will define that so that we will know the importance of emotional intelligence why do we talk about emotional intelligence for mothers and infants?
Yes.
There is a research, Doc, no, that the mother's emotional unavailability is more troubling than their physical absence in their taking care of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
So they found out, research shows that around 3,000 adults samples in midlife development, they found out that early parental emotional support, the acts of caring, acceptance, and assistance proved to be a principal predictor of mental and physical health in adulthood.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the association persists even into the seventh decade of life. So you ask me what is emotional intelligence. Perhaps the best thing is to compare it with IQ. No?
Okay.
That's why gintawag na EQ. Actually na doktora EI na mo. Kaso lang mas maintindihan sang tao para i-compare sa IQ ginbutang nila nga EQ. But it's actually emotional intelligence. Ang IQ, no, ina ang aton nga intelligence quotient, di ba?
Mhm.
And all the mothers want their children to succeed in school. Because that is a test for IQ. Ang mga diploma naton, kaya tanan kita high in IQ dahil inang mga doktor, even high school, no? IQ is, kumbaga, di ba nag-peak when you are 19, no?
Mhm.
Tapos maplatulang na kang manaog sa 60. So, but they found out, doktora, nga ang success ng isa ka tawo, career-wise and personal life, no? 20% lang ang IQ. Di na yun ang 80%. Ang 80% goes to your emotional intelligence.
Oh, it's so important. Yes.
Yes, that's why ang emotional intelligence in it, the name itself, no, it talks about emotions. And for years and centuries before, when we do the decision making, wala tayaga kwan sa emotions kay irrational kuno na, no? But finally, they found out that we cannot make decisions really kung wala gid may influence gid ang emotion. That's why emotional intelligence is being able to monitor your own emotion, no? To know your emotions, discriminate them. But kung kisa bala, doktora, mga clients ko, how do you feel? Sing ano nila, ambot, kailang, overwhelmed, no? That's why hindi kita ka proceeds for the next day, no? These emotions cripples us in our decision making and our functioning mentally and physically. So emotional, kumbaga, butangan ta intelligence ang emotions, no? All of us are feeling sadness, anger, no, frustration, ano pa, disappointments. There are 3,000 plus kinds of emotions. So emotional intelligence, if you are able to monitor that, no, i-embrace mo ang emotion, pero i-manage mo, hindi mo pag-i-control. Kay inang emotion na yan is telling you something, and you get that information so that it can guide your thinking and behavior. So actually daw pareha lang na bala nga ginasiling ko sa mga College of Medicine naton, doktora, no? Ano kakasuma cum laude, kung bisan ano ka photographic ang mind mo, kung sa adlaw nga ina, no, nakipag-break up ang girlfriend mo sa imo, di ba? You are full of emotions, no? Hatred, anger, that emotions takes over you. Naggadula ang focus mo sa imo nga studies. Kaya bisan ano ka bright mo, babagsak ka pa rin because you don't know how to handle these emotions that brings you to the negative side. So amo ina ang emotional intelligence. It has 5 building blocks. Self-perception, self-expression, no? Maka-express ka kung ano ang emotion mo, then it will better your relationship sa tanan. That's why kung makita mo, attitude is very important these days. That is because of your emotional intelligence, no? Then it helps you in your decision making plus the stress management. That's why EQ mo gid ang kinanlan sini nga pandemic, no, to be able to function well. So that does explain.
Yes, because the next question would follow is why is EQ so important? So I think na-explain man, no?
Okay. Ang important nga ina siya kay ining mga emotions nga ni like anxiety, fear, no, and worry, may reaction ang lawas ta. Bisan ano ang naga-trigger sang imo nga fear, the same ang reaction sang lawas ta. You want it or not, there is body responses that we react on it. That's why kunyari, no, may nag-trigger na ugot ka sa upod mo, no? Naakig ka. So mag-increase na imo nga blood pressure, blood supply kay nga normal na iya sa lawas ang now na naga-ilunggon ako, no? It's because it's very normal for the body to react that there is danger, no? That's our flight, fight, and freeze. Yeah. So but whatever the reason why, it's the same reaction. So if it's because of a lion, no, it's for survival. Pero kung kisa but sometimes no, kung kisa gawis kita sang energy nga ni sang emergency power because wala gid man lang reason yung fear natin. So we can manage that fear, no, from ginatawag natin from the direct pathway going to the indirect pathway para magkalma anay ang brain mo para hindi mag-react ang lawas mo, so that it will not ano gani na kaya kung maakig ka bala daw gusto mo sumbagon dayon ng tawo nga mangakig ka, and the reaction is, you know, it's okay to feel angry kag mag-isip ka that to box the person or fight. But putting it into action, bisan tama ka pa, that's physical violence already to the other person, right? Kag makuang ka pa, mapulis ka pa. So emotional intelligence is being able to manage this emotion that your action will be better.
Okay.
Okay? Na hindi ka iya makonpas ang mga consequence. Okay?
Yeah. I have read in one of the definitions of EQ is it's the ability to understand, use, and manage your emotions in positive ways to relieve stress. So I like that. To relieve stress, among others. Okay.
That's why in emotional intelligence, you have to identify, you have to learn. Kaya gina-practice na. No, you have to reflect on what you feel. Nga amo niya, why am I feeling this way? Why am I irritated? No? Hindi la because anger, Doc Jim, doesn't come immediately as anger. Okay? It starts with irritation, no? Disappointment, frustration. Kumbaga, it scales up. So before it goes into anger, being aware that you are already irritable in kumbaga step 1, try to manage already what causing you the irritability.
Okay.
Yeah. Why is it difficult for us? Because we have trained to suppress emotions. Hayaan mo na yan, hindi naman yan kailangan. Di mo alam na nagpatong-patong na, no?
So ignoring it is actually, it's the wrong way of addressing the problem.
Yes, emotional intelligence is managing, accepting the emotion, manage the emotion so that it will give you a more positive. An emotion is neutral, Jem. Wala iyan negative or positive. It is us who puts it on the negative side or to the positive side. So it will help us with our stress. Nga ahulaton mo pa nga ma-anger ka, nga mag-increase ang imo nga blood pressure, nga ang imo nga heart rate, of which those are just for emergency procedures, di ba? To help us survive. Di ba? That's why when we are on emergency, we increase that. But if it is already, you do not know how to manage this kind of emotion, it will be a chronic thing. So your body is not made to be always on emergency mode. That's why you get sick finally if you are not able to manage these emotions that troubles you.
Okay, so this is very exciting. Eventually, in the next session, you will teach us how we could manage our emotions.
Yes, exactly.
So that means we will have a part 2.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, you know, what is good news with emotional intelligence is that you can learn it at any age. And it is a competency. That means you have to observe, you practice, no? And then you can get something out of it. And it makes like a habit. It creates a habit on you. And then it's either a healthy habit, no? Or a bad habit. So
the line that stuck into my mind is manage versus controlling your emotion.
Yes.
Manage versus control. I have here a question from actually most of the moms.
Yes.
During this pandemic, I feel so miserable. How can I manage my emotions? Is
Yes.
this an intro to our next session?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. And actually, I will tell you a story that my own daughter had a baby in February before the pandemic came. So
Okay.
the pandemic, no, in itself brought us a lot of emotion, no, fear, anxiety, and worry. Tapos mag-alaga ka pa ng baby,
Mm.
no? So that is really miserable, no?
Yes.
So, but the
Distressing.
only, yes, it's really distressing. The first thing that you have to do is that you have to accept it.
Okay.
That is the reality of things. When you accept that you are afraid of the pandemic, you try to get more information about the disease, no? So that may tinatawag tayo na stress management through time management. And what is the problem now? Because of there is too much emotions that is brought to us by the pandemic in itself. Huh? We get out of focus of taking care of the baby.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we're having the baby, have it naga-breastfeed, we have the breastfeed, pero emotionally wala kita connection.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have to manage every emotion that we feel. Perhaps next that will be exciting. Next session that we have, we will see how will you do it. But there is no one size fits all. It's just a general, it's a general theory that this can help you being able to manage these emotions. But the first thing that I would like you to do from here and the next session is write down all the emotions that you feel within this week or within this month, because we cannot manage an emotion that you are not aware of. So the first one is to identify the emotion, and that's the hardest thing in emotional intelligence, because as a culture we have learned how to suppress emotions.
Yes. That's what I'm about to say. How could you identify?
Yes, and we do not blame our culture because our parents nurtured us in a Filipino culture that we can survive that Filipino culture. Why? Kay kung masabat ka, disrespectful na mo.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yes.
why we train our children not to talk or to talk about their emotions. But that's good, because when they become adults and they talk back to the elders, there is already judgment on you to be disrespectful that they will not listen. That is why, Jem, this is very timely because times have changed.
Yes.
Even parenting should change to be able to adapt.
That will be a challenge for everybody.
Yes. And yun ang kwan, finding the emotion, finding your own skill, how to manage these emotions so that you can function better and the best of who you are in any situation you are in.
Okay, so can we just tackle one skill? Kumbaga, how can we find that emotion?
Okay. My daughter would say, Mom, because it's a new baby, would it be any easier? Will it be getting easier? Di ba? As the
It's a
baby,
continuous process.
yes, that's why the first skill is to have your mindset and accept it that it will never get easier. The best thing is to adapt,
Adapt.
accept, and adapt. And the worst thing, Jem, is that the babies are growing. Kung
Yes.
saan ka na nag-adapt, terrible to na sila, di ba?
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's why the only thing that you have the skill is that you need a break. Find a way to have a break. It's good for Filipino support group, no? Well, the Filipino culture, we have the support group.
Mhm.
Give yourself a break as a mom. You will function better on the next. Sabi nga,
Mommies, listen, mommies. Mommies, you need that
yeah,
break.
you need a break. And then don't be afraid to look and search for help. My daughter is in Australia, so she doesn't have the Filipino culture there.
Yes.
So when she went to me and it was a pandemic, I cannot be with her. So every day I talk to her. And
Mhm.
then she said there are groups that will help moms. That is what you call affective empathy, which is part also of emotional intelligence. In Iloilo, I think we have the postpartum heroes also, and I
Yes.
think that's why I love what you're doing because this is helping the moms. So
Yes.
the first thing that if you are overwhelmed with all this emotion, find yourself a break, even half a day. Don't feel guilty about. Risk one. Yun ang first step natin because the others will be complicated already, no? And yeah, just have a break at this time. Ask your husband, can you take care of of the baby for a while? I'll just have a break. I'll just have a go out and walk and feel and just no me
Is
time.
it the me time? Yes, me time.
Yes.
Find yourself. That's finding yourself.
Yes, at this point of 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 the emotional troubles that you have during the pandemic and
Okay.
reflect on it. What are the emotion that is overwhelming with you?
Okay. So
And
this
then
is
we
one tip, how
yeah
to identify the emotion and then have a me time. Try
to
to
reflect.
find that me time to reflect on what are the things that you're going through. Okay. Yes.
Yung para bang sabi nga nung daughter ko, she was able to find these other mothers. That's effective because you are on the same boat. You can
Mhm.
talk about things that
Yes.
and they sabi nga there's no one size fits all.
Mm.
So that's why your self discovery of who you are, you will find your own strength. That's why in emotional intelligence, it's very important to know who you are. What are your strengths? What are your
Mm.
strengths
Yeah.
in life? Why were you able to proceed with medicine? Perhaps for me, if you get that 24 strength characters, my number one is spirituality. So wherever in my problem is, I just really pray hard and go through the problem. That's one of my skills. So find your skills. Yun ang reflection doon sa self. Find your
Okay.
skills.
Find your skills, know your emotions, have a break, find yourself, find your skills, go find your friends, your support group. Okay.
Yes.
So how fast time flies. We have a few minutes more
Yes.
to go. Oh, this is so exciting. Uh, would you want to leave some important points before we end?
Yeah. It is your emotions is telling you something, no? Let the emotions work for you, not against you. That means when you're tired, it's telling you something. You just don't quit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at that emotion because it's what are the things that are is triggering that emotions. Reflect on it, and that's the only way we can manage. And that is the hardest thing. And it will also reflect on your childhood.
Okay. Yes. Childhood experiences would really matter. So we have to be mommies, we have to be very careful.
Yes. That's why and don't you worry if there was no emotional availability for your mother when you were young, emotional intelligence can be learned at any time. You can
Yes.
recover from that trauma before, if that was a trauma for you, if you will know how to manage these emotions as they come along.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Doctora. Um, okay, so
That's my
yeah, yeah.
privilege, and it was a fun
Oh,
afternoon to be
yes,
with
so
you.
much. Thank you so much. Mommies, don't forget for your comments or even questions, just type in the comment box below and we'll try to answer your questions in the next session. Doctor, thank you very much.
Have a good
And
day,
yes,
Gemma, and all the mommies in the world. You have a noble purpose in life. You are taking care of another life. So be emotionally available to your infants and to your children.
okay. Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.